Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So good to see you again. This is This Week in Guns. It's brought to you by the Patriot Patch Company and Primary Arms. We offer you commentary on late-breaking firearms industry news, information, and buzz. I am your host, Matthew Larosiere, and I'm joined again with Sean Herrin. Sean, how are you?
You know, I'm wonderful. I'm in a new place, a better place. I mean, mentally, not physically, but no, I'm great, man. I'm great. I'm happy. Today was a good day.
Really? Was it?
Yeah.
What happened today?
I had Olive Garden for lunch.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was a good day for me, too.
You had Olive Garden for lunch? No,
God, no. That's why it's one of the reasons it was a good day. But I did get something.
What'd you get?
You'll really like it.
I'm sure I will, because you always have cool stuff, and I'm always pretty excited by what you get, because it's usually...
a 22.
God dang it. Get out of here.
Yay.
I'm not interested.
These are really cool. It's a Stevens Model 87A. It's a gill gun, and they call these gill guns, they call them click clacks. They call it gill guns because of those cuts there on the side.
It looks like gills.
It's an extremely early semi-automatic 22 rifle, and the reason they call it a click clack is because when you fire, the bolt goes back, and your trigger actually holds the bolt in the rearward position. And so to load the next round, you release the trigger and it goes clack.
What?
So click, clack.
That's pretty weird.
Yeah. So these are really cool.
Yeah.
This it showed up at one of my local pawn shops, and it was in a pile of shotguns. And I was like, "Ooh, you got a click clack!" And he's like, "Of course, Matt. Of course, you know what that is."
Right. This obscure, but. I also got something that's equally as cool as that, is some patches that I ordered.
Really?
Yeah. It says, "Please no shoot me, Alec Baldwin." It's for my plate carrier.
That's front or back?
It's the front. So basically, as just an everyday citizen, I make it say, "Please no shoot me, Alec Baldwin." But if I'm at the range and I want everyone to be afraid of me, I just only leave the Alec Baldwin.
That's good. Did you have those made, or were they?
I had them made. I had them custom made because they were funny. I hate sometimes getting stuff custom made because it gets here like 2 weeks after the joke is old.
Right. Oh yeah, we were talking about that with the lowers, right?
Yeah. The lowers, and then I've ordered some dust covers that they were very old by the time I got them. Oh, that's my notes.
No, it's mine.
Oh, sorry. I was like, I've got the notes up too. Okay. But yeah, anyway, please no shoot me, Alec Baldwin.
That's awesome. Well, you know where you can find patches and 22s?
Where?
There's a website. I'm going to show you. Pull it up online.
Like one of them online web stores?
Primary Arms.
Oh, look how fancy.
Pre-Black Friday sale. It's good stuff.
All right.
So let's see what kind of good stuff they have. Me and Sean, we are really big fans of, all kinds of different firearms.
Okay.
So let's see. Yeah, Firearms.
I'm ready.
Let's just look.
Okay.
What are we looking for today? Caliber. Wait, caliber marking? No, where's the actual caliber? Caliber or gauge?
All right.
Good caliber.
You're going to search for 22?
You're going to search for 22.
Okay.
Look at all these good guns.
Huh, weird.
And they're all affordable.
Hate them, don't care.
Which one do you want?
0.
Ooh, hey, look, this is actually really cool. Not in stock though. This $479. You could have Henry's AR-7 survival rifle with soft case and accessories.
Not a terrible gun. I have one. It's pretty cool.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I have a 22 that you actually probably do like. It's the Beretta U-22 Neos.
Is that on here?
I don't know. It's a one of those things that not a lot of people have because it's the weirdest thing in the universe. Okay, well,
I am actually not even familiar with what that is.
Yeah, it's dumb and it's 22, so you probably like it.
Let me look it up.
But I was actually, since we were talking about Alec Baldwin, I wanted to see what they had for revolvers, and they have a lot of revolvers actually.
All right, you want to pull that up?
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up right now. In fact, let's see. I'm going to share this screen. Here we go.
Oh yeah, no, the Neo. I have shot one of those. Pink one. Is yours pink?
No, mine's not pink. Okay, that would be cool though.
Yeah.
It would add insult to injury on that, I think. So, okay, I'm pulling up revolvers that are in stock.
Wow, what's that big boy there?
Which one?
The Magnum Research.
Oh, yeah, that's the 460 Smith & Wesson. The BFR. It's in stock, actually. Ooh, that's kind of cool.
I value at twice the price.
Yeah, I hate the way it looks, but it is in stock. It's $1,279.99. And if you like revolvers, Alec Baldwin.
You think Baldwin would want to upgrade to something like that?
God, if he did, they wouldn't have even been able to do an autopsy.
No, I think a man of his taste would go for the Judge, which they also have in stock.
Yes. Although the 45 long Colt, I would take that one.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I like 45 LC.
Yeah,
So really what we're trying to say is Primary Arms has revolvers.
Primary Arms has all kinds of things.
Yes.
And if you use our code, which is code FRN, Foxtrot Romeo November, and you buy a gun, you get a mount.
Ooh, not mounted, but a mount. A free mount.
Yes.
frn.deal/BA.
Yep, check out all the stuff we got available there.
Yeah.
So now on to the news. This has actually been a very slow news week for 2A stuff. So we're going to get to talk about some interesting things. And actually, nothing happened this week at all.
Nothing.
In the 2A sphere.
No.
No major jury verdicts.
No.
Nothing.
No. Except for that Benedict Cumberbatch or whatever was found not guilty on all counts.
Benedict Cumberbatch was found not guilty of petty theft and shoplifting.
Kyle Rittenhouse, man.
Of course, guys. Of course, we're going to talk about Rittenhouse. It's interesting, right? There was a lot of tension here. 4 days of deliberation in the jury. It's not every day you see stuff like that, and I can only imagine how much tension that Kyle felt while waiting all that time, where his life is in the hands of just a few people.
Yeah.
I just that is all I can think about is just imagine you're done, you've put on your case and everything, and then 4 days later.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I don't know really anything about jury trials. Not sure if you do. Like, when it goes 4 days, is that expected in a case such as this, would you say, by both prosecutors and defenders alike?
So I don't think it would have lasted this long if it weren't for some of the total nonsense that went on in this case. The state made a mess, and people. I've gotten a lot of questions about this. I've gotten a lot of questions about the conduct of the prosecutors in this case. And people, I'm going to be a little harsh here, but I'll say, that prosecutor was one of the best performing prosecutors I've ever seen in my career. That is an insult.
Yeah.
When I was in law school and I was taking crim classes and I was thinking some of these rules are just so unfair to the defendant. How could this ever possibly work out? How could you ever possibly win? And my professor put her hand on my shoulder and she said, Matt, don't ever underestimate the ability of the state to F their case up.
Wow.
And that,
wow.
They pull it through here. That this, not handing over the right videos, their sudden introduction of this Quoth enhanced video. You make the trial a circus, right? And so the trial was already a circus by the degree it was publicized. And so that's one reason you would expect to see deliberations go on for quite some time. And I'm actually willing to bet that a lot of the discussion that was had in the jury room were the jurors talking about discomfort with their identities, right? With whether or not they should be concerned. I'm sure a lot of time was spent on that, again, just because of the fact that this was turned into a total kangaroo case with all of the media attention.
Yeah.
But so, with a highly publicized case, you do expect more than a day of deliberations, right? Whereas in most jury trials, they deliberate for, most cases that aren't like this, they deliberate for a day. Yeah. Maybe. Sometimes I've seen them 30 minutes, where they were in there. But it's, so yeah, the level of politicization, the amount of clown car antics that the state pulled on, everything was just going to just create a total mess. And remember, they have to go through and debate every single charge before they get done.
Right. And so it was, there was the weapons charge that the judge basically took off the, what did he do? He got rid of it in some way.
Well, the state null prossed it.
Okay.
I believe so. I think it was the state that just dropped that. And it was because if you actually like read the law there, it like only prohibits the carry of SBRs, which was interesting.
Yeah. What did you think about the prosecutor like picking up the AR-15, finger on trigger, and pointing it at the jury?
As a gun guy, clown car, insane. Don't do that.
Without question, I agree.
As a lawyer, I get it.
Oh, totally. Because that's what I was going to say. Like, my opinion is like he did that because he wanted them to look down that barrel and he wanted them to be scared because he wanted them to relate to the pieces of crap that Kyle killed.
Yep. It was theatrics.
Yes.
And that's a lot of what courtroom litigation is ballet.
Yeah.
And that was, if it wasn't such a publicized thing and you didn't know for a fact that these jurors were going to be hearing criticisms of it afterwards, I think that would have actually have been a great piece of theater.
That's what I was thinking.
From a perspective of, whoever's side, right? Like, you ask me personally, it's like, well, no, the state should just sit there slapping itself the whole time.
Right.
Is what would be right in most cases. But it's not a big secret. I'm not a huge fan of the state, but like, you do think about that, not as, the 4 rules, not as all that stuff, but think about when you're trying to prove your case to a jury, when you're trying to prove invocation, right? It's exactly like you said. And this guy picks up this gun. I frankly don't think he even thought about finger on the trigger. He's clearly not a gun guy. I mean,
fair. Look
at him. And waves it past the jury. He wanted them to feel like, oh my God, this is terrible, So yeah, that's when what went on there. So I'm not too willing to like. I'm willing to criticize the state for being hyper political, for being unprofessional, and for ignoring their obligations under the rules of evidence. I'm not willing to criticize them for that theater, though.
No, totally agree and understand. There was just so much, and I didn't pay a ton of attention except for my Facebook feed, and Instagram and everything was just constantly covered in it. So I think I picked up more from osmosis than I did about anything else. There was just so much, like the Grushwitz bruh.
Oh my God.
Basically admitted that he was pointing his gun at Rittenhouse when he got shot. Like, that far-reaching effects, because wasn't he suing? Was it I don't even know, the state for $10 million?
Yeah, this is one of those things where it was better for me to watch from afar because, well, one, there's no point in me getting invested in this case, right? I have no connection to it. I have no, there's nothing I can do to influence it. So but of course, it's been consuming our entire world for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like it's been all consuming. It's all you can look at. And of course, me as a professional, I'm curious. I'm curious to see how the defense is going on. You don't get to see cases like this fought out so clearly, right? Because in most states, you can't get video of these type of proceedings.
Right.
So it was very interesting for me to see what happened. It was very interesting for me to see the defense put on a case and have Kyle take the stand. That was a ballsy move. Very gutsy. I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of commentary and they were like, what in the heck?
It may have, it was a tactical decision. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, you can Monday morning quarterback all you want. They did win, right?
Yeah.
But, if I were running that case, I would have, here's the thing, though. At that point, they had seen what a total clown shoe attorney the state's prosecutor was, right? He had messed his bed repeatedly with his own witnesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so your main risk when you let your defendant take the stand is then the state gets to ask them a lot of questions on cross. And so if I were in the position of Rittenhouse's defense team and I saw them just like absolutely like the way they were handling the interrogation of their own witnesses, it was akin to them like standing up in front of the courtroom and then there's just spaghetti coming out of their pockets and they're like, hold on, and they're just like trying to stuff the spaghetti back in. So if you see that, I can really more understand the thing, but it's, my philosophy in the criminal cases I've handled has always been make the state carry the rock all the way over the finish line. And, the way these presumptions work, if they get almost up to the finish line, but not over it, the law says you win, right? And so it's, what's your bet, right? Are you going to bet that they won't be able to carry the rock all the way? Or are you going to bet that you standing up and saying something is going to somehow influence or convince the jury without giving them that extra push, that extra couple steps to get the rock over the line? Because remember, in a criminal case, you have to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not like in civil cases where sometimes the standard is preponderance of the evidence, which is like, to put it in mathematical terms, 51% probability. It's beyond a reasonable doubt, which means if there is any like reasonable way you could explain it in some other factor, you should acquit. So it's more like 99% or 99.9% certainty. So that's why, the general strategy is you sit there and cross your legs and try to take pot shots at their evidence as they're trying to carry their burden.
Wow, man. Pretty nuts. So what about like all the mainstream media? We saw, God, I'm drawing a blank on the other kid's name, with the Native Americans, and the kid was standing there and everyone, they were.
Oh, like, yeah. I remember that.
He won $10 million against the Washington Post, if I recall correctly. Do you foresee, in your opinion, Rittenhouse going after some of these people as well?
I mean, do I see him doing it, right? Like, he could. Do I think it would be successful? No. It's to the point where he's not considered a public figure at this point, right? He didn't actually, or it would be a very tough argument to say he was a public figure. So, he may have a case, but the fact is the standards are, that willfully and knowingly using false information, right? I just don't think it's hard, right? It's hard when it's a criminal trial to prove that the journo lizards are intentionally and knowingly spreading false information. I think that, maybe he'll bring some cases, and I think it would probably be intelligent for the news organization to settle with him. But it just as a gut instinct, like, if I were the lawyer for, a news agency and I saw this lawsuit, I would value it at like, give him $20,000 to go away, type of thing. I wouldn't value it as a multi-million-dollar thing, but crazier things have happened. And
totally,
as we know, you can get crazy verdicts if you bring a case all the way to a jury. I'm not saying this was a crazy verdict, but
yeah, you never know. We saw some blue checks over the last few days talking about how there was one, possibly two jurors that were kind of holding everything up, and that they were afraid of like their future, their job, and basically being doxxed or their identity revealed. And when someone told me that, I was like, wait, what first of all, how would anyone know that? And if they do know that, everybody needs to be thrown in jail. Am I wrong in that? Like, if someone has that information, that clearly.
Well, so it's an interesting thing, right? And the judge talked about this because there was the situation where it may have there was a contractor for MSNBC who was pulled over following the jury bus, right? And allegedly, the contractor said that MSNBC told him to follow that bus and find out who was inside, or something, or it's it's supposed that he was to find out who was on the jury bus.
Yeah.
That's, interfering with the judicial process. That's
without question. Yeah.
It's like, because there is no legitimate news purpose for finding out who jurors are.
No.
So that's, it's not something that there's a lot of case law on, but it is something that is like very obviously perverting, right? Like if we let that happen, then from now on, anyone on a jury would feel the need to, be scared of consequences. That's just not how it works. I mean, even going back to, the 800s, where the executioner would wear a hood.
Right.
It was to protect the identity of the executioner, right? Like the jurors are unwilling, compelled members of society to serve a judicial function. These aren't people who signed up for it. So that's nightmare stuff. And I feel like the people that are trying to boo-hoo the whole question are they're just really immoral. Not even from a legal question. These are people who were effectively drafted, right? They're forced to serve a legal function. Mm-hmm. There they are.
It's crazy, man.
It could have been anyone. It could have been you. You just don't mess with that.
I agree. It's kind of like once that is, and it has been, right? Like jurors' identities have been exposed in the past with other big cases.
Oftentimes they'll willingly do it.
Yeah. They'll be on the news, guaranteed, trying to cash in on their 15 minutes of fame. I actually called that today. I was like, I wonder how long before that and how long they were...
The book.
Yeah, how long they were, sitting there. And I was bullied into saying not guilty by some of the other people. I guarantee that we see some of that.
Yeah. And also, let me just say here that, and I've seen a lot of posts on Facebook that, so I'll preface by saying, you don't have to think that Kyle Rittenhouse is a saint, to think that, well, the state just didn't carry its burden, in a homicide charge. In fact, you don't even have to think that he did anything right. You can think that he's a bad person. The question here is whether or not the state was able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he acted with wantonness, that he acted with intent, or reckless indifference to human life. That's the real question here. So I don't want people to, people criticize me for being too on one side or the other. No, I'm on the side of, one of the few things I have faith in is the design of the legal system, not how it functions. Of course, it functions about as well as a Volkswagen, right? Mm-hmm. Being that it does not function at all. But, it's not about agreeing with Rittenhouse or anything. Like, personally, I think Rittenhouse looks like the kind of guy, and if you look, people look through his Facebook and stuff like that, looks like the kind of guy who would report you for not pinning and welding a muzzle brake on a 14.5 AR, right? I mean, are you with me there?
No, I think
police cadet, turbo blue liner, very, very turbo Law and Order, stuff. So I just don't want anyone to think that I'm simping for the kid. No, if I'm simping for anything, it's making the state actually, carry the burden.
Yeah. No, I think my opinion of him is he's just kind of a little bit of a dipshit, and he's a
17-year-old kid, or was right. A 17-year-old kid.
Yeah, and I don't mean and when I say that, I have 4 kids. They were all dipshits.
Yeah, well, and 17. I was a dipshit.
Yeah, I was an idiot. At 17, absolutely without question, total idiot.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. And, I think that he probably had noble intention, and then he got a real big slap in the face with the real world. And this is the way things are done on the streets, boy. And, the real world is a really messed up place, and really bad things can happen really, really, really fast. And I think that he got a wake-up call to that most people don't ever get. In fact, a lot of the people who talk a lot of crap on the internet and say horrible, horrible things to people on Twitter and stuff like that, I don't think they've really ever had a taste of the real world or been punched in the face really freaking hard.
Yeah. It is a thing. A lot of boomers say that, right? Is that you just need a good ass kicking. But you know what, man? As somebody who, when I was younger, got taken out back a couple times, it changes you a little bit.
It does.
It makes you rethink whether or not you should take certain actions.
Absolutely.
And praise God that most people don't have to have the brush with reality that Kyle did, but it, you do got to think about what all of your actions will cause. And you know what? If I'm pretty sure that Kyle, when he's in his 30s, is going to look back and on all this and probably think, this is why I spend most of my time inside now.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, like, I think he had every right to be there. I think he had every right to carry a gun. I think that
For sure.
Like, and I love the argument. There are two things. I love, the argument that this is all like racism. I'm like, what are you talking about?
No, the white kid who shot a bunch of white guys?
Yeah, and then...
No, that's super racist.
It's the dumbest thing in the universe. But then also...
Did you see the thing there where it was like, employers, you need to let all of your colored employees off after the Rittenhouse verdict?
I was like, what?
I was like, well, I'll take a day off, but...
Yeah.
What do you do?
Absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, they're I don't know. I think that he just got a real heavy dose of reality, and I think that he was really, 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 really lucky to come out of it the way that he did and not come out of it, dead or Rodney King'd or...
oh my God. Well, and then all the times that, like, where Mr. Bicep, by all accounts could have hosed him.
Yeah.
And, it was, there was something helping Kyle out, whether you like him or not that day, he was, so yeah, he's lucky. That's for sure. He's lucky that he made it out unscathed, and he's now lucky that he was not made that the mob rule mentality wasn't able to hijack the criminal justice system.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So yeah, I am very glad that it came out the way it did. My personal opinion, seeing the information that I saw, this is clearly self-defense and clearly something that I think he'll regret for the rest of his life, but I think he was 100% in the right. Ultimately, like, George Zimmerman was his life was in danger when he killed Trayvon Martin, right? Like, I think that we can mostly agree that being on your back on the sidewalk, getting your head pounded into the ground, like, you're probably in danger.
It's not a good time.
Yeah. The difference here is I don't think that Rittenhouse really created that situation. I think he just was wrong place, wrong time, wrong guy, wrong color. And
everything, and then looking more at the Rosenbaum videos and stuff. And there's some things that we haven't even been able to see. Right. But it's interesting. And,
it is,
like you said, he is very, very lucky.
Yeah.
And I hope now that he doesn't get victimized in some other kind of way, because you know what? Let's be honest. Any sin that he had, he's been punished for at this point. Mm-hmm. He's the subject of half of the nation's passionate ire.
Right.
And that's a serious thing. That's something that none of us would want to deal with, unless you are into that sort of thing. No. And then just the level of penetration that this has had into our society is like, look at this. Webster. Oh, that's okay.
Wrong one.
Yeah, that's okay. Webster posted right after the Rittenhouse, the verdict was announced, and he broke down crying, which obviously, or no, this was while delivering his testimony. He broke down sobbing. Makes sense. I feel like you'd have some emotions. If that had happened to you. They came up and
oh wow, yes,
linked the definition of crocodile tears.
Huh. Wow.
Like, could not love you guys any more than I do. I love when Merriam-Webster get political without getting political. Very clever.
What an idiot. Yeah. And to be fair, so they linked to the term crocodile tears, which is like an old colloquialism, basically, that people thought that crocodiles shed tears when they killed their prey. And for them, yeah, Merriam-Webster, you know what? You dumb.
It's like, hey, dictionary loser.
Right.
Go back to the library.
Exactly.
What are you doing here? It's ridiculous. But I hope everything goes back to normal. I know it won't.
Is Kenosha going to burn?
What?
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Is Kenosha going to burn?
I hope not, but it's gonna.
Yeah, I know it is. Yeah.
And then guess what? Same thing's going to happen again.
It gives Black Friday a new meaning.
Oh my God. This is brutal.
I meant like black as in doom and destruction, not.
No, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's hold on. Patriot Patch said.
Oh, they did? What did Patriot Patch do? I don't know. He's getting a thing. He's opening it.
Something very topical.
Talking off mic.
Patriot Patch sent me this.
What did they send? Oh, dang.
If only with focus.
If only live every day like it's Black Friday.
Yeah,
I love
with
that
the
patch.
nods.
Yeah, I love that patch.
That's funny. Yeah.
It's so great.
Sorry about the interjection, guys. That's half of their ad they get early.
There you go.
Anyway, yeah, there wasn't much more news in the legal context this week, but we have some other more lighthearted things that we can talk about, which is a nice change of pace. This was really slick. Did you see this? CMMG's 4.6?
Dude, yes, I saw it. Also, oh my God, I don't care. Like, of all the okay, I talked about this last night on another show, and well, first of all, CMMG 4.6 is a 4.6 by 30. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Yeah, 4.6 by 30, which is a caliber made popular by nobody ever, but it is the caliber that the MP7 shoots, if I'm not mistaken there, right? The H&K
yes.
MP7. And so I was like, okay, let me go out and let me just see where 4.6 ammo is available. Zero places is where 4.6 ammo is available.
Fiocchi imports it.
Okay, they import it, but guess what? Guess what you can't get?
Yeah, there was a time where you could buy it exquisitely cheap for some reason, and that time was in the past.
Yeah,
but so CMMG, and it's based on the Banshee. I'm assuming it would use the radial delay because getting a 4.6 to operate an AR bolt carrier in the traditional gas operation would be tough.
Yeah.
Remember, like 4.6's ballistics aren't they like almost identical to like 17 HMR?
I didn't see that, but I did see it compared to 5.7, which CMMG also makes an upper for, and the 5.7 was ballistically superior in almost every way.
To 4.6?
Yeah.
Yeah, because 4.6 is a dumb cartridge.
It is.
It is a 17 caliber cartridge. I do think it's comparable to 17 HMR.
I'm looking right now
because it's a micro bullet, but this is just, I don't know, man. I think it's cool. But the only reason people would want anything to do with 4.6 is because they think the MP7 is cool.
I think the MP7's cool. Like,
right. And so you would want an MP7.
Well, I wouldn't.
Would you want anything else in that caliber?
See, I wouldn't get an MP7 because there's no way I want to be freaking alms for the poor for the rest of my life trying to find 4.6 ammo. Like, I don't understand. I hate this, actually.
You really do?
I do. I really do. I just don't understand. And if they came out and they were like, hey, we're working with this ammo manufacturer, they're going to increase their 4.6 by 30 production by 300%, and we're releasing this in tandem with that announcement, and here's that ammo company, and there's going to be a flow of this ammo in the United States, and we're going to have that, and then no, they're just like, hey, we made a gun that nobody gets ammo for, that nobody can get ammo for, that ammo doesn't actually really truly exist out in the wild. And we just took something that was extremely sparse in the first place and we've made it even more sparse now. I don't get it. I love innovation. I love doing new things and trying new things. I hate this.
Yeah. Well, it is funny because I was talking with my friends about how you can just kind of buy 4.6.
Yeah.
And then this was released and I go, hey, you know what? You can't just kind of buy anymore.
Yeah.
Announced, not even released. Like nobody has this gun yet, but all that 4.6 that was sitting around is gone.
Yeah.
Well, and I like how they put it here in this article. So if you thought the recent run of new pistols and carbines chambered in FN's 5.7 round was too mainstream, then the Banshee Mark IV 4.6 might be the gun for you.
I don't understand it. And maybe I'm wrong. Like if they
do you like 5.7?
I am a 5.7 enthusiast.
Really?
I think that 5.7 is interesting for its velocity and its ability to defeat body armor. I have a Diamondback 5.7. That's the only thing I have in that caliber. I've been collecting ammunition for about 10 months now that I finally have enough to actually
you can go to the range ones?
Yeah, I can finally do the review on that gun. But yeah, like I think I have 700 rounds, which is basically $800 worth of ammo. And
I remember in the beginning of the pandemic when 5.7 was cheaper than 9mm.
Oh yeah. Yeah, same.
And then everyone bought 5.7s.
Yeah. Well, that's Ruger's fault, really. Ruger came out with their 5.7 pistol, and then everybody hopped on that bandwagon, CMMG included. Yeah, like I like CMMG.
What do you think of the Ruger 5.7?
I kind of like it, actually.
I mean, I've shot one quite a bit, and I find it distinctly uninspired.
It is like most of Ruger's handguns, like the Ruger American, they have quite a line of handguns that I'm like, yeah, this isn't bad.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but I wouldn't buy it, right?
Yeah,
and exactly. I kind of feel like that's the same. The Diamondback 5.7, which is a basically a little carbine, is pretty awesome. I like that, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't understand. And if they come out and there's something really cool on the horizon with 4.6, then I will fully admit that I am wrong but I don't know. I just feel like this is some hipster nonsense for no true reason. And I don't know. I'm decidedly negative.
I'm not going to buy it. But let's talk about cope. You know, speaking of cope, all of the 5.7 people coping with their $2 around ammunition.
Yes.
The teachers
are at it again. The poor teachers.
The poor teachers. You know, I know we've got some educators in our listener base, but let's talk about this first, and then I'll talk about teachers generally.
Okay.
There was some articles written recently where these groups of teachers got together to just kvetch extremely hard about the idea of arming teachers, which, like, who has been talking about that recently?
Not many people, really.
Yeah. So we got this article here that breaks it all down. It's on Bearing Arms. We get some cool quotes.
Okay, good. I'm ready.
I am a teacher.
Oh, good.
So was not surprised to read almost immediately from various news sources comments like the following from fellow educators. It's hard to begin to count the number of ways in which this is a bad idea. The day they ask me to carry a gun in the classroom is the last day I teach, period. End of story. I'm trained how to teach students how to read, how to treat each other with kindness, and how to learn, not to attack somebody with a gun. And your solution is to arm teachers? 3 question marks. Are you fucking insane? I'm a teacher. I teach children. I've been in the army. I've made the choice to no longer be a soldier, but a teacher.
Mm-hmm. Wait, did somebody propose that all teachers have to be armed? Like it's a requirement?
That's the windmill that they joust at, right?
Yeah.
Because that's been proposed like a couple times, but it has almost never gotten anywhere. All of the states where that's proposed, they settle on a, permissive thing.
Yeah, which is what I think. Like if someone wants to carry a gun and takes the requisite training required for the school district to allow them to do that and still cover them on their insurance, then I think that they should be allowed to do that voluntarily. I don't think anybody should ever tell anybody else what to do, ever. I don't think people should be threatened with if they don't get the vaccine that they lose their jobs. I don't think people should be threatened that if they don't carry a gun, they lose their jobs. Like, stop telling people what to do.
Super agree. That's ridiculous. But also, and I make the argument because I believe in the Second Amendment informed by the First Amendment, right? And there's some historians disagree with me, and there are historical reasons to disagree with me, but I think that you should have a Second Amendment right to not be armed as well.
Yeah.
I totally think that. Of course, early in the United States system, there were militia acts that required us to be armed. So it's hard to square that with the history of the Second Amendment. But I just believe in a moral, legal, principled way that you should have the right not to carry an arm. And so I would never support mandatory teacher armings because, number one, statistically, you are the least likely to be shot in school.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to be more comfortable with that fact because it's a fact. Number two, teachers are stupid. I don't know why we, as a society, pretend that they are some anointed class of greater beings. And I don't mean like teachers are stupider than anyone else. I mean teachers are stupid in the same way that lawyers are stupid, in the same way that everyone else is stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
They're just stupid people. So
because all people are stupid.
Yeah, everyone's stupid.
Yeah.
And so there's no reason that like we should compel teachers to be armed any more than we should compel bakers to be armed. Right?
Totally.
They're just stupid people.
Now, I will also come at this from a direction of I have had the distinct pleasure of teaching both force-on-force principles with applied medical training to many different teachers through a couple different organizations that exist out there. Faster from Ohio does some of that stuff where they teach teachers and things like that. I've done a bunch here in Colorado, and these teachers were very motivated to carry a firearm and to do the requisite training required by the school board and the administrators in order to keep their insurance, and to have teachers armed should they choose to be armed. And we taught those classes, and it was fantastic. Like, in talking to the teachers, both in class and, like, why is this something that you want to do? It was all because these students are my responsibility, not just for their learning, but for their safety. And, right. And then this is the thing that I want to do. And in fact, one of the hardest things that I had to get across to all these teachers that we dealt with was teachers and administrators, was, look, you're not a hunter. You're not hunting down the gun person in the hallway, right? Like, we're developing strategies, techniques, and skills so that we can stay alive in a situation should anything bad ever happen. And to get them to, like, your job is not to go hunt down a bad guy. Your job is right. to defend. And if put in the worst position in the universe, to come out of it on the other side alive, and with the people in your care alive, like the people in your classroom alive. And getting them not to go, like, run down the hallway, shooting ammunitions at people. Like, it was really, really difficult, which tells me, and that was 100%. That was 100% of the teachers, whether it was men, women, young, old, no matter what it was, they wanted to take care of the bad guy. They wanted to save every single person that they possibly could. And for this teacher, who has, it's an echo chamber, right? Like, these are teachers. Yeah. They're in Colorado, Ohio, all over the country, and they want to be armed. They want to protect students. If you don't want to, don't do it, but don't stop people who choose to develop those skills and choose to take that responsibility on and apply your own same closed-minded nonsense to them.
And that's the thing, like, and the author of this original article, he says, I'm a teacher, I know, and I'm friends with dozens of teachers. Trust me, you do not want teachers with guns. That is, they're melding the arguments, right? So it's hard for them to get on the ground and say, oh no, I'm totally against anyone being able to protect their classroom, right? Mm-hmm. They have to frame it as though it's a compulsory thing. That, you're arming the teachers. When you talk about arming teachers, it makes it sound like, okay, draw lots, whoever gets the shortest straw gets the AR, right? Like, that's terrible. But,
yes.
And so then you see the way the argument changed. It was like, you don't want arming teachers, you don't want teachers with guns. It's like, hold on, that's two different things.
Yeah.
One of those things, I'm actually in agreement. I don't want to arm them because, one, if the government is paying for their guns, I want one. Okay, I get one first. Two, if so if it's their own gun and their own thing and they've decided to do it, well, hold on, that's a whole different question.
Right.
But it's so disingenuous, and it's really frustrating. If we could get together and actually talk about the core issues, right? And so here's the core issues to me. One, federal law requires that classrooms be full of soft targets. That's the fact, okay? I do believe that in light of that, the state has a duty to provide some level of protection for those people that are disarmed by law. I don't know what the best way of doing that is, because, I have gone to a very large public high school that had like 5 school resource officers, which posed their own very serious problems, which caused juvenile indiscretions to lead to criminal records. Mm-hmm. They'd bust kids for smoking weed in the bathroom and stuff like that. It's like, these are 15, 16-year-old kids. They shouldn't be getting a criminal record over stuff like this. So I don't know the right way to do it, but it seems to me that if a teacher who is legally allowed to have guns, is not a convicted weirdo, wants to do it, well, it seems to me better than nothing. Mm-hmm. But you can't argue with that. They can't sit on all fours and argue with that. So they have to say, well, you can't arm me. It's like, okay, yeah, but I don't want to. Yeah, see, I'm right.
Right. I will say that their point about you don't want all teachers armed, I totally agree. In fact, we had a couple people come through classes and
and you were like, yeah, this one, I don't know about this one.
No. I was very honest with them. I was like, I don't think that if you want to have a firearm and have it available, that's great. But I also think that you shouldn't, you should use some of your other strengths and that as just the absolute, last final solution.
What were they, like, too eager or?
No, they were, the ones that I've got right in my mind right now were just a little bit elderly, very limited arm and hand strength. And like, even after working for days, very tough to charge the handle, very tough to control the pistol. And, it's not to impugn them at all. Like they were there, they were doing something that most people aren't brave enough to do. And I was just like, let's use some of your other strengths and, this will just be your backup, to your backup.
Which is what it is.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. Next up, we've got a article. It is from The Onion.
Okay.
But again, it's a slow news week and it's good. I just thought this one had me really laughing. Apple brings back pistol emoji for users who complete gun emoji safety course.
Yes. Yes.
Reaffirming the company's commitment to responsible texting, Apple announced plans Wednesday to bring back the pistol emoji for users who complete a gun emoji safety course. iPhone users who are 18 years or older may be eligible to text a digital pistol contingent on completing a 6-week course taught by a trained gun emoji safety instructor.
Yes.
That, it's hilarious, but it's so funny how, is life imitating art or is it the other way around?
Oh yeah, totally. I guarantee and I would take that 6-week course and I would immediately misuse that emoji. It would just not even be a thing. Like, I hate that the Babylon Bee and The Onion, sometimes it's so hard to tell that it's parody.
Oh yeah.
Because we live in clown world.
It is super duper clown.
Oh God. I don't know.
All right, last up for today. I figured we may as well do a little FUD busting.
Okay.
How many times have you heard, people say, "Oh, you want a revolver because right, it'll never break on you. It'll never fail. It never jams." How does that make you feel when you hear that?
Enraged, engorged.
Engorged.
Yes. Both of those emotions are strong in my body right now.
Yeah. So there's a thing posted on TFB. It's Wheel Gun Wednesday, aftermath of a kaboomed revolver, and it shows a bunch of revolver failures. And I don't know how it has remained in the public consciousness that, everybody still think, not everybody, but, many people still think that revolvers are just so much better, are just so much more robust. It's like, look at the walls here that are holding in the entirety of your pressure.
It's pretty ridiculous, actually. I've got a funny story for you, actually. I think you'll get a kick out of this. And it has to do with revolvers, and it has to do specifically with this article. So I was visiting my mom and stepdad last week. This week, actually. I don't know. Part of last week and this week. And she brought a couple guns out because she wanted me to show her how to use them and teach her how to shoot them and stuff like that. And one of them was an old single action loading gate and everything, 22 revolver. And so
your favorite. Yeah.
She handed it to me and I checked to make sure it was clear. And then I messed with it for a few minutes. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I dig it. And then I handed it back to her and she I turned away for a second. And when I had turned back, it was completely jammed. Cylinder wouldn't rotate, hammer wouldn't pull back, trigger wouldn't fire, nothing. It was totally jacked up. And I had to completely disassemble it to get it back and functional. And I honestly don't even know what happened, but revolvers are not these bastions of stability. They are the opposite of that. Revolvers, unless they're a really, really, really good one, can be really clunky and kludgy. And if you rotate the cylinder out of time, it can be a really bad day and you have to completely disassemble
or if you
everything.
holster it wrong, and the cylinder goes in the wrong direction, it bends the hand, and now whenever you pull the trigger, the gun is trying to shoot itself.
Right.
So when you think about it, and I know that I'm preaching to the choir mostly with our audience, but there may be some people out there that haven't really thought about it. Think about how a revolver works, right? Mm-hmm. You've got ratchets on the back of the cylinder, and the only contact surface is the back wall of a cylinder, of a rotating cylinder. So you wind up having these tiny little hardened steel hands that are just, you just got to move this, and they're held forward by tiny little leaf springs, right? It's like a Swiss watch in there a lot of the time. And guess what happens when one of those springs bend or gets forced out of shape or whatever? Well, suddenly, it's like 0.02 of an inch shorter.
Right.
And then at the end of your 44 Magnum cylinder, that translates to 0.20 of an inch, And okay, what happens if you're still on the primer, right? But you're out of rotation. Well, your gun is trying to shoot itself, and I have seen Tori that are like fairly new sling lead down the left side of the frame. Like,
I believe it.
Yeah, I enjoy shooting revolvers.
I do too,
but I don't like revolvers.
I can pretty much agree with that. There's a few that I really do like, and they're fun, but ultimately, like I don't even want to say ultimately, like I like revolvers, some of them.
Yeah, no, I collect them. In fact, I have one of the worst revolvers of all time here on my wall, a Japanese Type 26.
Nice.
But it's cool to shoot, and I like to shoot it as a fun thing. We're going, haha, I can't believe somebody would like depend on this thing.
Right.
But whenever I get somebody who's like, oh yeah, no, I want to buy a J frame as my carry piece, I'm always like,
my favorite is the elderly white woman that wants a feather light.
Yeah.
Because it's light, it'll be much easier to use. I'm like, I cannot wait to see you shoot that.
Yeah.
We're gonna put 357 in that bitch.
No, I saw that the other day. It was an elderly woman that I know and actually like very much. Mm-hmm. She works at a gun store. And I finally asked, because he was telling me a story about this gun that she had and blah, blah, what happened to it. And I'm like, well, what's she carrying now? Featherweight.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, and he goes, yeah, if she pulls it out, make sure you're behind her.
Even that's probably not safe because when the recoil slings that directly over her head. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I've had literally dozens of older people come through classes and have featherweights and realize after like the first 2 rounds that they have made terrible, terrible, terrible life choices and hate the rest of the day.
It's like $1,000 life choice.
Yeah. 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 They're just ridiculous. No, I want the heaviest revolver I can get.
That's why I like my Webleys.
Ooh, those are cool. I'm going to admit to something right now that's probably going to make you lose. Well, you don't have any respect for me, but it's going to make you, if you did, it would make you lose it. One of my bucket list guns that I absolutely want without any question is a Chiappa Rhino.
I knew you were going to say that, and I have no problem with it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm surprised.
I mean, and mainly because I know what you really want is a Mateba.
Okay, Mateba Unica.
Yeah,
that's what Jeremy wants. And
no. But the only reason you want a Rhino is because you know that you could never justify buying a Mateba.
Exactly. Yes, I totally agree. Yes.
So that's totally rational. And I've shot a Mateba. I have shot a Mateba. I've shot a Rhino.
Dang.
And it was decidedly okay.
Yeah.
Have you shot them?
I have not shot a Mateba, but I've shot mini Rhinos.
Yeah, they're very okay, especially for the price.
They really are.
Wrong with that.
Yeah, some of them can have problems, but overall, I really want one. And then just like the standard Ruger, I want one of those.
But an SP100.
Yeah,
those are good to shoot. I had a Security 6 for a brief time, mm-hmm. and that shot really nice. The one revolver the only revolvers I have now are military revolvers, which is funny because you get this like huge Webley, the Mark 6, and it's huge, and then you realize the power of that cartridge. It's like significantly less than 45 ACP. And like my French service revolvers that are nice and steel, it's literally like comparable to 25 auto.
Oh God!
So they don't move at all. But the one revolver that I want that's like a proper revolver is the large frame Smith & Wesson 44. Is it the M19 or the I always forget if it's the M19 or M20 something.
I don't remember.
Yeah, exactly, because they're all named the same thing.
Right.
But I do want a 44 double pin Smith & Wesson. The only problem is every boomer also wants one.
You don't want a Cobra?
I had a Cobra.
Did you really?
When I was 20. I did not hold on to it. I kind of wish I did. It was a 2-inch.
Oh, geez.
It was horrible. I mean, not quality-wise. You know, everything, like, the quality of it was really good. But to me, it was like, I can't shoot this thing.
Yeah. Dang, man. Yeah, I do have a little bit of revolver enthusiasm. I've got a revolver that I actually really like. It's 38 special only, but it is a Rock Island Armory M200.
What is that?
It's like a $300 revolver.
Oh, it's just a regular revolver?
Yeah. Just it only shoots 38 specials, not strong enough for 357. But yeah, it's just a fun little gun, and maybe even $200. I don't even remember.
There's another revolver that I've shot that I very much got lust for afterwards, and it was the Ruger Blackhawk in 30 carbine. It was awesome. You know, it was like 3 o'clock, so you know the sun was still up, but kind of, you know, sort of starting to chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I shot that thing outdoors, and the flash was still preposterous.
Amazing.
Yeah, and even with ear protection, my ears hurt.
I was like, wow, that's weird.
Yeah, no, it was loud. It was awesome.
30 carbine's not a terrible caliber, actually.
30 carbine is cool.
It's fun.
30 carbine is cool. So yeah, no, I would totally play with one of those Ruger single action 30 carbine. You know what the worst revolver I have is, though?
What's that? The
Ruger Wrangler.
Oh, God.
It's their new 22 single action only thing. It was like, you know, dealer cost is like $120. So I was like, oh, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I took it out to my property where I was mowing and clearing the land. And I saw this huge lizard 10 feet away.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, I've got you. I pull out my Wrangler and I dump the whole cylinder at this 10-foot away lizard.
What?
And he's just staring at me. It missed every shot. And I'm like, okay, I'm not that bad. So I put it on paper. And on paper at 10 feet, it hit like all of the edges of it. It was insane.
How?
I had never, I don't even understand how it could have been that inaccurate and that like wildly inconsistent. And then we got another one, same thing.
That is so weird.
It was, and it's one of those things where it's like, oh, you got to shoot better. Mine shoots amazing. Look, I can shoot a gun. Sean has seen me do it.
Yep.
I put a whole cylinder into a 10-foot away lizard, and he was staring at me. Like, they weren't even hitting close enough for him to care. So that lizard got to live. And I looked it up, and I looked at him right in the face and said, all right, well, I guess it wasn't your day, buddy.
That's the weirdest thing. You're right. Those are $120. Holy moly.
Yeah.
And not worth it.
Yeah. And guys, comment if you've had one of those and let me know if I'm not the only one, because I've had two that just shot everywhere, but I kept it because it was $120 and it's a fun little thing to swirl on your finger.
Yeah.
It's
funny because I'm looking at them right now and I kind of want one because it's just $100.
Buy it and see if you can hit anything with it.
All right. I will.
Yeah. And if you can, I don't know, maybe we'll send my gun back, but I'm willing to bet that it just like doesn't hit.
I wonder.
Same thing with those Heritage guns.
I was just looking at that one. 116.80 is the dealer price on those.
Yeah, my friend got us the 16-inch Heritage one, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a hell of a plinkster. And it was like a 10. It patterned. It didn't group.
Oh God.
You know, and that's the thing about revolvers is, right, if your timing's out, well, your bullet's going to be a little effed up looking when it gets out of the barrel.
True. You know? Yeah, like half a bullet.
Yeah, you got half a bullet going down the barrel, and then a bunch of lead fragments, just peppering the area.
That's wonderful.
Well, anyway, that's all the stories we got. We do have one more friend we can talk about, though. And look, they sent me.
What?
They sent us both nice things. They sent me this cool magnetic patch wall bingle thing.
It is pretty cool. I actually have one on my whiteboard right there. I've got one on the whiteboard out there.
Yep, and then they sent me. Oh, you're. They definitely listen to our show, don't they? I'm
sure, probably.
They sent me this cleaning mat.
Oh God. Okay. So I got that and I was like, okay, I've got to be getting punked right now.
Isn't this great?
Yeah. Send it to Alec Baldwin
they
quick.
Kind of like poke fun, right?
Yeah. Chihuahua. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a Chihuahua. Know your target. What's behind it? It's a bunch of cows.
It's pretty good. I laughed because I wondered if he had heard me railing against that. By the way, totally off topic. We'll go back to Patriot Patch Company in a second, but George Clooney was doing some podcast or something, and he talked about like, I've never heard of cold gun on a set. And every time someone hands me a gun on set, I open it, I inspect it, I show it to the person next to me, I show it to the person that I'm going to be pointing at, and we all make sure together that it's not going to happen. And that's his process. And I was like, all right, fair enough. Like,
do you remember when I said I would do that and you got mad at me?
Yeah, well, I still don't think it's realistic for all actors. Like maybe they could implement that and then every single actor has to take gun safety classes. Like I think,
or just every actor could be an adult.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I don't know. So he said that, and my opinion on that whole issue is ever evolving.
Mm. Yeah, it is an interesting one. It's another very sad thing, right?
Yeah,
it would have been just better if it didn't happen.
Yeah, it would have been.
All right, quiz time though.
Yeah.
On their 4 rules thing.
Okay.
Number 1, what gun is that?
I think it's which one? The top one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got to be an officer model 1911, right?
Nope.
Oh no, look at the trigger. I don't know. What is it?
That is a Firestar.
Oh God.
Very strange that they would pick that there. So yeah, Patriot Patch is, they've got interesting taste. The Firestar is a Spanish-made compact pistol. It's kind of like it's a heavily changed version of the 30 military, and they're pretty nice guns, and they're really inexpensive. Solid metal gun. I just thought it was cool that they put such an obscure gun on their 4 rules mat.
I had no idea. Mm-hmm. Pretty dang awesome. So, where would somebody buy patches if they wanted them?
The Patch Store.
Patch Store.
Patch Store. Yeah, the Patch Store is available at patriotpatch.co.
Yeah. And if they wanted to get a discount?
Or yeah, they don't have any money.
Yeah.
They little small wallet boys.
Yeah.
They can put in if they're good, they can put in the checkout code TWIG10 and then put in the special comments that Matt sent him and that Sean is generally not respected by them.
That's fair.
And then if they do all that, they'll get something.
Matt will send you a free t-shirt at his cost. Ha! Back at you. All right. Cool. Awesome.
Have a good one, fellers.
Go Kyle Rittenhouse.